Year one, 95% of the time is not a profitable year for any of us when we first start trading. It wasn't for me. It was not for me. 1992 was my first year, and I started literally 6 weeks away from the end of the year. Exactly when I don't want to trade now. See the difference? Because I felt like I had to do it real quick. And I had no idea what I was doing. And then in 1993, I had a flash of luck and then crashed and burned. So year two, not profitable. So it's normal for you, and let me remind you all, it is absolutely normal for you to be learning and engaging in deep study, exercises, back testing, forward testing, tape reading. I'm literally going to take you through the real process that I've always taught in private mentorship that 90% of my students just simply didn't want to do. They don't matter. They cannot hold you back, but you're going to let them. Some of you will let that bullshit creep into your head, and you will ignore the fucking evidence that I'm proving and showing and giving you a testimony every single fucking day. Here it is. It's right here again. Here it is. Here it is. Take your attention to this chart. Look at that counter there. It's going to go here. It's going to go there. You have to have a target. You have to. If you have no target, how the fuck can you measure your progress? Are you hitting the mark every single time you aim for it? How can you realistically gauge progress and development? You're going to be spinning your wheels, which is exactly why this fucking industry has break even to blowout. 90% of the club. First 3 months, that's exactly what happens. Everybody else out there talking horse shit, nothing. It's a simple understanding of time and price and understanding market sentiment. You'll learn about that this year. I'm going to be talking about it every single day. I'm going to be talking about where retail will see the marketplace and where those instances are where retail is arm wrestling smart money. We are looking for those points right then and there. That's when our high probability setups are occurring. That's your multiplier. That's your pattern. That's the thing that you're going to do every single time you go in there and look for a trade. That's what you hunt. If it's not there, guess what you're doing? Nothing. And you're not going to regret it. You're not going to feel anxious. You're not going to fear missing out on something, because who gives a shit someone's trading a breaker over there? Who gives a shit they're over there trading an institutional order flow entry drill over there? Who cares if they're trading in a market maker buy model when you're selling short, you're looking to sell short? Who gives a shit? That's not your trade. That's not your trade. That's equivalent to seeing somebody else's significant other and saying, wow, I'd like to get a hold of that. But you're married to somebody else. You can't do that. I mean, I guess you could do it and get yourself in trouble. But the point is in trading, you don't want to do that. You cannot do that. You got to stick to what you are married to, and that's your model. That's your market. That's your multiplier. The thing that you're going to do over and over and over again, and that is going to be multiplied with the heavy lifting of money management. Because if you're aiming for 3% or 10% or 6%, that's a static return that you're aiming for every single month. Your risk need not be high to meet these thresholds in terms of returns. Not even 1%. How about 0.75%? What if you risked 0.75, which is less than 1% risk? And nobody writes books about this shit. Nobody makes videos on YouTube about this stuff. Nobody makes courses. They don't teach their shit with this logic, okay? But if you're going to have the advantage of having funded account balances, which you really don't have, but they're going to offer you that, and you're able to take money out like you see my students all around the world doing now, I promise you they're still trading way beyond where they should, because they want these big windfall victories. You don't want that. Not when you first start out. You don't. As much as you want to believe you want it, you don't want that. You want this shit to be steady Eddie, easy money. Something that's easy to do over and over and over again. You're not trying to flip your fucking account. You're trying to take money out of it. Every single opportunity that you can take the money out and they allow you to do a payout, you do it. But what I want to let it grow. Fuck that. How do you know this company's going to be existing 6 months from now? And what if you work that account up and you build it up and you build it up and you build it up, and all of a sudden regulation steps in and says, yeah, we're going to change the way this is being done. You don't think it can happen? Nothing would surprise me anymore. Nothing would. So as you make the money, you get the fucking money. You secure the bag, you pay your fucking bills, you get your ends meet, and there you go. You save some money up and get your own account. You have to have multiple streams of income. One stream of income isn't going to be it. I'm a millionaire, and I still have multiple streams of income. I'm not going to bed at night sleeping about who's going to watch my fucking videos, okay? I'm not worried about, am I going to be able to get a trade tomorrow? I'm not worried about ever doing a mentorship ever again. Think, folks, if you're worrying about money, you have a full-time job in fear, and it doesn't pay well. It gives you ulcers, it gives you stress, it's toxic, it makes you miserable to be around. And I'm telling you how to change all that. Because if you don't change that mindset and start seeing how this is obtainable, your model need not be complicated. Even though you might look at what I'm teaching and see how intricate it could be and sophisticated in many ways, it need not be that way for you. Look what I've been able to do with last year's model. And you can simplify everything that I teach just like that. The benefits of knowing what your multiplier is and your model is that you will know exactly what you as the trader are going to do. You're not trying to keep up with somebody else on social media. You're not trying to keep up with me. You're not trying to win some kind of bullshit contest. You're in here trying to make money. That's it. That's all this boils down to. Making money and enjoying it and having fun. Making money doesn't need to be fucking boring and stuffy, but it needs to be easy. Because if it's not easy, you're not going to stick with it. Because if it's easy, you'll be able to do what? You'll be able to weather doing it wrong once in a while. Oh, okay, shit. You know, I did that wrong. Okay, it's no big deal. Why should you be carefree and lighthearted about taking a loss? Because your model, your multiplier, will still fucking work. And when you have all this information in front of you, and at the end of this year, all the things you're going to look back and say, these are the questions I had that I thought they were paramount. And they were hindering my learning when they should have never been a cause for concern. You're going to know exactly how to go forward without me. You won't need to watch my videos. You won't need to come back and see what I'm talking about. You won't need to have a handheld experience with me. You will be independent. You won't need to buy some bullshit software. You won't have to be subscribed to nobody's signal service. You won't have to be part of some fucking Discord, chat room, Telegram, fucking Facebook groups, all that bullshit. That's all distraction. You want to be living your life, not chained to social media. Fuck social media. Fuck Twitter. Fuck all of it. Because it's a drain. And once you get to that point, when you can sit back and say, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know what I'm looking for. I know when I should not be doing it. Right there, that right there puts you in the upper 5%. Because most people don't know that. They don't know what the fuck they're looking for. They're reacting. Oh, price has been going up. It's probably going to keep fucking going up. And then you go in there and do what? You buy the high. Then it retraces a little bit. And you say, okay, I'm done. I got to get out of this. You get out and then it rips higher. And you think nobody makes money. No, you just fucked up. You don't know what you're doing. Contrast with, I know I shouldn't touch this, but I'm going to observe it. I'm glad I didn't do that, because if I would have done what I used to do, I would have lost money. And then by doing that week after week, seeing the times when you shouldn't be trading, you get grounded. You don't feel like you're missing anything. You don't miss anything. Yeah, there's going to be moves. If you go down to a 15-second or 30-second chart and look at the 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock hour, you can see all kinds of model 2022 setups in there. Over and over and over again. Both directions. There's plenty of setups. That's what these high frequency algorithms are doing, folks. They're not trading on 5-minute charts. Okay? They're on the second charts. They're way below where you're paying attention, and they're firing off over and over and over and over again. And there's a marriage between that algorithm that's seeking to engage with the algorithm that delivers price in the marketplace. And that's the real dance. That's the soiree that takes place every single market day that no one's talking about. No one's talking about it because they don't know the fuck they're talking about when they're looking at charts with harmonic this and that, moving averages and horseshit. None of that stuff makes these markets go up and down. None of it. It's money. It's the liquidity, the orders. And if it's not the orders where it's going to go there with the intent to do what? Create it and engineer it. And they're going to come back and get it later on.